How do I, 18 female, reject an insanely clingy, 20 male, after first date? So I went on a date with this guy yesterday and from start to finish it was one big mess of red flags and icks. Also I thought he was 19. He is insanely clingy after meeting literally one time. For example, I gave the date a clear ending point by saying I would have to leave to go to the gym that evening, to which he enthusiastically insisted he joined. I ended up saying in that moment a simple no, I'd like to go by myself. He then started trying to force himself into my gym plans the following morning. Then he showed up at my workplace today, which made me insanely uncomfortable, being so disrespectful as to vape inside of the small independent store and demand to be able to use my staff discount. The worst part is that after we parted ways last night, I never even sent a single follow-up message, so he did all this and I hadn't even texted him in the less than 24 hours. How do I reject this man? Please, I've never had to reject someone before. You just have to be forthright. Tell him you're not interested, wish him the best of luck. If he persists, tell him you find his pushiness concerning, and tell him not to contact you again. Then block. I'd also consider alerting your job about this individual should he continue trying to contact you. This isn't clingy, this is creepy. Hey, it was nice to meet you, but I am not interested in another date. Good luck. But AL significant other, why does he know where you work? There is no reason for that info to be given to anyone you barely know. Please document his messages and actions, date, time, what he did, how you felt, and if he continues to stalk you, contact the police. This is more than just clingy, this is creepy and aggressive. It seems like you're underreacting here, to be honest. Text him and tell him that while you had a good time on the date, even if you didn't, you're not interested in continuing things further with him. If he doesn't leave it there and insists on seeing you, block him. If he tries to show up in person, call the police. That's not clingy, that's stalker behavior. So be vigilant. In most cases, a simple text like, I had a nice time yesterday, but I'm just not interested in moving forward. Best of luck with your future dating, should be enough. Hopefully, he'll take the hint, but if he reacts poorly or says something nasty, be prepared to block his number and all his socials. I do not want to date you, please don't contact me anymore. I wouldn't block him right away because I'd want to know how bad he is, in case he's going to threaten to show up at work or the gym. Given your other comments, is there a friend who can come escort you home from work or someone who can walk you to your car for the next few weeks after you tell him a firm no? This is super red flag, danger behavior. God, and they wonder why we chose the bear. Me 32F, my boyfriend 35M was testing me by asking me to lend him money? I'm 32F and he is 35M, who recently immigrated from Turkey, illegally. We were dating for 3-4 months and he said that he only had 5 cents in his bank account and asked if I could lend him $1,500 $2,000 after I told him I could help in an emergency, like food or gas. He told me he would pay me back in 2-3 days, and of course I told him I did not have that much to give, but I could give him some money for food or gas if it was an emergency. He then said, well, I remember you saying you were saving money, to which I replied yes, but I have my own expenses to cover and could only give what I could. He got upset and said that he was testing me to see if I trusted him enough to give him money, and I apparently failed. He then sent me a screenshot of his bank account with about a $1,800 in it, saying that he didn't need the money. Of course I got upset and asked why he would do such a thing, and I told him it wasn't healthy for me to be in a relationship with him anymore. I'm not sure if he truly thought this was a good idea or was he trying to scam me? Never be with anyone who wants to test you. That is way too much money to give someone in such a short relationship. Good for you for saying no. $1,500 after 3 months with no explanation, and he's in the country illegally, which means his ability to stick around and pay you back is open to question. It sounds like you've already broken up, which makes going forward simple. You're not dating him anymore, and I think you should keep not dating him. Maybe it's a scam, maybe he actually has unreasonable expectations. He got upset and said that he was testing me to see if I trusted him enough to give him money. You shouldn't trust someone at 3-4 months enough to give them thousands of dollars, and should always consider money given a gift and not a loan anyway. That is immensely stupid, and you passed the test of having basic common sense. Yes, he was obviously trying to scam you. People with good intentions don't ask for or expect money from a new partner at all, and certainly don't test them. Red flags all over. He is illegal, he lied to you. He either wanted to scam you for money, or even if test is true, testing is gross. Never be with a tester. Run. Testing whether you'll give him money isn't right. He lied about his financial problems and then hoped for you to be honest with yours and help him. This is a manipulation. That's why it's hard to trust his words and his approach. He should just be open and honest about financial talk with you. Staying or leaving? F 35 meters 32. Hello everyone. My husband and I ended our relationship a few months back. I initiated the conversation after being together for 11 years. I identified with the walk-away wife definition. We were emotionally distant. He was away a lot. We didn't have a lot of shared decision-making. He was often very influential and inflexible and mostly ended up doing whatever he said. In addition, our life in the bedroom was not satisfactory for either of us. We kinda just did it for a release, very transactional, even though I barely ever wanted to do it. Doing that whilst also not ever feeling seen or heard may have caused some trauma in me, made me feel used and get the ick with him and with myself. On top of that, I felt like he didn't put effort with basic things such as personal image and hygiene, cleanliness, etc. He also had emotional regulation issues and mood swings, and I would often feel like I was walking on eggshells. No matter how good of a day we were having, some minor thing could ruin it. When I started the conversation of splitting up, he had an immediate change in some things. After I moved out, he started being cleaner and tidier around the house, with his image, and also I haven't heard him curse, get angry, or anything like that. He seems to be more mindful about feelings, wants, needs, and such. We started going to marriage therapy. He wants me back. I don't want to get back together but can't find decisiveness. His personality is very insistent and he has a fix for everything I say and a rational argument for everything. Our marriage therapist tells us that all of the issues that we have can be worked on with therapy, mentioned above, plus communication issues as well. She says that trust can be rebuilt, attraction and intimacy can be regained, issues can be worked through, but in her words, splitting up can't be on the table. I am aware that everything would be a negotiation, but I am so exhausted of compromising on what I want because of him. I have been doing this for over a decade. I need change now, and I want things done my way. In addition, in spite of what the therapist may say, I don't see as of now a future in which I'd want to be physically intimate with my husband again. I felt so used. I still have the ick. Any thoughts or advice are appreciated. Also, if anybody has experiences with marriage therapy that they would like to share. Thank you. You left. The hardest part is over. And your marriage counselor is pretty naive. I would not persist in any more therapy or counseling. You are not attracted to your husband and you don't have any respect for him. His improvements are too little too late. You have the ick. Move on and don't look back. He finally learned how to brush his teeth and wear deodorant and clean underwear. Good. He will need to embrace those new skills if he hopes to get anywhere with the next gal. The marriage can only survive if both are willing to make sacrifices and work at it. It seems you have no desire to do this, and therefore you are just wasting your time as well as his. Just go ahead and file for divorce. Since it seems this is where you are heading, you might as well do it sooner than later. He wants to win up. Him making those changes immediately upon your departure proves he can do it, he just didn't see the need. I'm confident in saying that if you let him win you back, the honeymoon will be short-lived and he'll be right back to his old habits. If you didn't have the ick and if he didn't have emotional regulation issues, then I'd push therapy. It's okay to say no to any additional therapy. It's okay to say I don't want to work on this marriage, I'm done, I want out. It's okay to proceed with divorce. Why are you in therapy with him if you don't want him back? Of course your therapist is going to say you can work on things. That's literally her job and you being there indicates you're open to it. Discontinue counseling with him and start the divorce process. Don't communicate with him except through a lawyer if you're worried about him manipulating you. Of course he wants you back. He gains nothing from a divorce. He gets to live life on his terms, sex on tap, someone to keep the house and give him respectability, who doesn't mind that he has poor hygiene. He knows he's never replacing that. Ever. You're 35. You have so many years ahead of you. My experience with marriage therapy is that it helped me see that I should have left years earlier. You'd be better off in individual therapy focusing on why this was acceptable to you for so long and why you were thinking of taking him back. I separated at around your age. I took him back and wasted 5 more years when I could have been working on myself and be 5 years further into the amazing life I have now. He knew you were unhappy, but didn't change until you made a decision to leave which impacted his comfort. Then she showed you that he is capable of putting in effort. The takeaway from this is that your happiness, comfort, and desires are not enough to make him want to change. It's only when he is impacted that he will change, to convince you to back down. Then he will probably slowly revert to how he was before. If your happiness was important to him, you wouldn't have to plan to leave for him to want to change. Look up tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. It probably describes your life. My boyfriend, M29, applied for a $17,000 loan on my behalf, F25. What is your opinion on this? Hey, everybody. I'd like to ask for your subjective opinion on a situation that happened to me, or rather what my boyfriend did to me. I guess I don't need advice completely. I know the decision itself is up to me, but I would be interested in other people's reactions. My boyfriend and I have been together for 4 years. We've known each other since elementary school. We've always had a thing for each other and our relationship is a pretty good love story. Unfortunately, the last year, I've started to notice a significant change on his part. He was always sleeping around, switching between jobs, drinking a lot and doing drugs, not functioning as a man in the house. Basically, I was on my own for a lot of things, and there wasn't much zest for life with him. I asked countless times what was wrong. He always told me nothing, that it was age, that he was turning 30 and was in a funk, that he hadn't accomplished anything and was burned out on work. He worked in IT and as a DJ. It had been a tough year, but we decided to get a dog who would bring lots of love and joy into our lives. We were looking forward to it and it was one of the things to get him on his feet a bit. On the day when I had already signed the contract for the dog and was about to send it off, I got a call from the bank that someone had applied for a loan on my behalf for nearly £500,000. Someone who had access to my passport, ID and even sent them my bank statements. The only one who has access to this is my boyfriend, who denied it until I'd totally folded, then confessed. He even opened an account with another bank and asked for more large sums there as well. Luckily he didn't get away with any of it. Finally he told me that he had been in big debt for a year because of drugs and that he was afraid to tell me and thought he would somehow work it out and I wouldn't find out. He didn't tell anyone, not even his friends. He misused my personal information without my permission. He went into my phone at night and got my bank details. I have no idea what to do. I cancelled the dog of course, but he was to be my future husband and we were to be together for the rest of our lives. Now I don't even know what kind of person he is. I can't trust him. There is a lot of anger in me and I don't know if I will ever be able to forgive this. Thank you for your opinion. He committed fraud. He's an addict. Run in the other fucking direction. He was always sleeping around, switching between jobs, drinking a lot and doing drugs. So he's a cheater, abusing drugs and alcohol, and now committed fraud. Time to talk to the police and report this crap. This man is so deep in addiction that he's committed a serious crime against you. You cannot save him. You need to leave. There is no scenario where you move on from this healthily. No, you can't forgive him. He committed fraud against you and was stupid enough to think he wouldn't get caught. He has no job, does drugs and drinks, he's going nowhere in life. The best thing you can do is break up and put some kind of hold on your personal information in case he tries again. As others stated, he stole your identity and took out a big loan under your name so he can pay back debts for his drug use and probably get more of it. This is common for drug users to do, is they steal their significant other's identity and use it to get more drugs or pay back their dealer. You need to file an identity theft report through FTC, file police report, and put fraud on your credit reports. You lost trust now. You need to move on from him as you will never be able to change him. He can only do that himself and he needs to get treatment for his addiction. I do recommend the FTC identity theft report, police report and call the loan company to cancel the loan. He needs to suffer the consequence for stealing your identity. You know exactly what to do. Kick him out of your life. Period.